Welcome to the Guntersville Grassroots Podcast. Trey and I are back again. He is remote just because of the way the scheduling worked out again. We're only 2 days later than we planned on recording this, and that's my fault, not his this time. Normally I blame him, but this one's mine. We're here. It's the first week of March, and it feels like May. It was 82 when I got out of my truck a minute ago. Imagine where you're down there a little further south, it's just as warm.
It is. It is perfect weather to golf or fish. And right now, with my boat situation, I'm having to golf when I get the free time.
What's the boat situation?
Man, I would love to. I'd love to tell you it's my motor's just not a good motor, but I think that I just don't have no luck. I think it's just me. This is about a 6-year stretch of my luck. But no, I slung an ear on my lower unit and the ABT around blast off. I wasn't probably an hour into fishing and slung it, and it hit the lower unit and damaged it. It's the fourth one I've had in less than a year do that. So now I'm kind of dead in the water and ain't got a boat, and it's so pretty outside. I actually want to go bass fishing again, and I can't.
I have not heard that problem with Mercury props. I had heard it with Yamahas, but I had not heard that problem with Mercury props.
I have a lot of people I know that run Mercuries, and none of them have as bad a problem as I have. But I've had 4, and the last one I couldn't get them to warranty it. So if they don't warranty it this time, Trey might be really retired from bass fishing because I am not paying for what they want for a lower unit. I'll take up golf after that.
Man, you just got to get out. You'd think that streak of bad luck would end, but and it will eventually. It will. But so you had a little bit of a rough go starting out there in the ABT, but still kind of turned it around, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. I was a little disappointed just because, man, I really thought in that ABT that I would. I won't say that I just thought I was going to win by no means, but I thought that there was a chance if it went my way. And so went and started at a place, and it was real crowded. Had some people start on top of me and I can't fish in crowds. So I was going to leave and go to my other stuff, and that happened. But super nice guy helped us out, got us back going, let us borrow his spare prop. Because I had changed the oil in my motor a couple of days before and left my spare prop and my prop wrench at home. So he helped us out and got us back going. And I think we got started back fishing at about 11 maybe. And from 11 to 2:30, we had a little over 22, which was good and salvaged the tournament. But it also aggravated me at the fact that, man, what could we have had if we fished all day? Because I had about 5 or 6 really good places, and I only got to fish about 2 of them. But who's to say that everything don't happen for a reason, and that happened so that way those were the only 2 I fished. You just never know.
Who knows? Well, let me take a wild guess, because out of the 50-something bags that got weighed in over 20 pounds in the ABT, I'm going to wager that 30 of them were probably scope fish. Did some of yours come looking at a screen?
Some did, yes. So I was a little aggravated, to say the least, when my boat problems happened. So I needed to take my anger out on a couple before I went to my scope stuff. So I went and threw a frog for about an hour before I went scoping. And I think we had just shy of 20 pounds in about an hour with a frog. And it was good for me. Got to take my anger out, setting the hook, before I got to just reel into them on 10-pound line. So that worked out. But then we went, I think I still weighed in 2 on a frog. I think I caught 3 scoping and 2 on a frog. It might have been 4 scoping and 1 on a frog. I had the best partner in the world, though, because when you're scoping, it's not built for 2 people. So my partner, Sam George, I never even touched a fish all day. He culled. I didn't even know what I had. I was catching them, and he would net them and cull for me, and I kept fishing. So I had no idea what culled and what didn't. But I think I know I weighed in at least 1 on a frog, because you could tell she was built like a grass fish when I pulled her out of the live well.
That's kind of funny. Those fish thought they were from different lakes, didn't they? Like two totally different animals.
It was. I had like 3 or 4 in there that were kind of shorter but really fat. And then I had one in there that had the head of a 7-pounder and weighed 4.25. And I'm like, I know that's the one I caught on a frog.
Yeah, no doubt. So when you say frog, I mean, like you're stirring up mud, throwing in some of that thick grass stuff scattered around.
Yeah, for sure. Like little mats. There's not a whole lot of it around the lake, but when you find it, I mean, every time I found it in practice, I would get a bite. And I don't think a lot of people are doing it. I'm sure they are now after this week. It's been so pretty outside, and now the water temp is rising fast, and I'm sure more people are doing it now. But in the ABT, there really wasn't a whole lot of guys thinking about it, and I think that's what made it so good. I mean, I caught like a little over 6 in practice on a frog, and that was going to be, I mean, one of our major game plans for the tournament. Had the motor not happen, we would have probably spent half the day doing that and half the day live scoping.
Opposite ends of the spectrum. That's why you're
Yeah.
diverse. If you could just get over this bad luck swindle thing going on you got there, there's no telling what could happen.
I'm telling you, I don't think I'm ever going to overcome it. I just accepted the fact that it's just going to happen. It's just a matter of when and how bad it's going to be.
Maybe it's a sign, Trey. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, my life was great until the tournament season started back, and then I had blowouts on my trailer. My transmission went out in my truck and slung a ear on my prop. So I think maybe I'm just ready for fishing season to be over, and
Well,
then
that's 3
my
things.
life will get back to.
So maybe the 3 is maybe that whole rule of 3 bad things is done. Where's
Ooh, Lord,
where's your next
dear
tournament?
Lord, I hope. My next one, I have the ABT at Pickwick. So I kind of have like back to back. I have the ABT at Pickwick. I think like March 28th, I think. And then the week after that, I have the Toyota Series at Pickwick. So I have no excuses. By the time the Toyota Series gets there, I should have about a week on that lake. So if I don't catch them at Pickwick, it's my own fault.
If they exist, I don't know. I've heard it can fish pretty tough, but early in the year it seems to be pretty strong if you like brown fish particularly. So
For sure. Yeah, and the ABT, the way the boat numbers go, we were boat 12 at Guntersville, which is also typical for me to have boat problems because I never dropped in an early flight. So I should have known something was going to happen to make me pretty much go out at 225. But they kind of flip back and forth or whatever. So at Pickwick, we'll be like 200. So there's not a chance in the world that we're going to get on anything at the dam. So I'm not even going to go up there and practice because I know we're not getting on it.
yeah, no kidding. So March 28th is when the Big Bass Splash is here. It actually starts on the Friday before. So that may cut down on some of your extra traffic over there. Everybody may be coming over here trying to win a boat. Speaking of winning a boat, somehow Bass Cash Bash started this past Sunday, March 1st. And on Monday, March the 2nd, a gentleman that is registered caught the boat tag. Now, I'm thrilled to death he caught it. Personally, it would have been nice if he waited a few weeks so people could still have a little hope. I mean, that fella stole hope from people so fast. But there's still a truck out there. Trey, you could use a truck.
Yep, for sure.
And there's been a couple of other tags registered people caught. So there's still a truck tag and just shy of $300,000 worth of tagged fish out there. So if you were only signing up for the boat, that one's gone. But your odds are still just as good at catching another one. Probably better because there's 200 or 298 of those cash tags out there. There was only one boat tag. So, but yeah, if you win if you're still that dead set on it, go catch the truck tag and sell it and buy a boat. So that's my take on that.
That's exactly right.
So Trey, before you come back to Guntersville or before you go to Pickwick, because they're over there, there is a boat tag on Pickwick. There's 2 boat tags on the Coosa Lakes. I can't tell you which ones because I didn't let them go. I don't remember. So just in Alabama, there's still 3 boat tags swimming around, and then I think a truck tag somewhere on the Coosa, one of the Coosa Lakes as well. He splits those up. He treats a whole group of them as one lake. And but splits them up, right? Like and rotates it. And I don't have much to do with that other than I just know it's down there. So today you don't just have to listen to me and Trey babble. We're going to have a gentleman join us. He's been with us he's been with us once sometime in the past 2 or 3 years ago. Johnny Patterson. I'm gonna call him the local Guntersville legend when we get him on here, just see how he reacts to that. So, but he's kind of like me. He's an old head, but he still knows how to catch them. He's been doing pretty good here lately, and I thought, well, let's get Johnny on to talk. So we're gonna see if we can't get him on, and we've got Johnny Patterson back on here, the longtime Guntersville legend. I told Trey I was gonna call you that beforehand. So
getting deep. I'm glad I got my boots on. It's getting deep in here.
Yeah. Johnny, I appreciate you joining us. You've been around Guntersville for a long time, and I know you're traveling around fishing other lakes with ABT and various things, but you've been, well, I say you've been catching them pretty good. The man's only been catching 24 pounds 2 or 3 tournaments in a row, and in ABT that was good enough for what, like 7th?
11th. Yes.
Isn't that something? So
that is something. Yeah.
Well, I thought about trying to get the winners from the ABT, but they were Miss Kay does a podcast with them, and those guys were scoping, and you may have been too. We'll find out in a minute, hopefully. And then I thought about doing the rattle trap guys, but hell, they were throwing a rattle trap. So what fun is that, right? And so I'm like, well, Johnny's been catching them pretty good. Let's see if Johnny will come on and share a little tidbit for the what are we up to, Trey, now? 8 people that listen? Is that right?
Well, it's what was that? What did you say that last part? I missed you.
Oh, I asked Trey. I said I thought we'd see if Johnny'd share a little knowledge with us. I think we're up to 8 listeners now. So.
Yeah, close to 8,
close
maybe
to
7.
8, maybe 7.
Well, I want to tell you guys right now what I found is every day is different over here. So it's not like you can go Saturday and then go back next Saturday and catch them again. They're here today, gone tomorrow, and I mean that's usually the case, but not like it is this year. And it's been, the bait is crazy. You'll have a creek and nowadays with the scope you can see what's under there, right? And the bait balls will be out there, and there'll be literally thousands of bass in an area, and you think, all right, I got this nailed down. And tomorrow you roll in there and they're gone. There's not there might be a few bass left, but when the bait's gone, the bass that's left don't even bite. So that happened to me in the Toyota 2 weeks ago. First 2 days I had right at 22 pounds both days, and then the last day I went in where I was catching all those fish, and the shad were gone. It's completely gone. There was a little storm the night before, and the water had a little bit of color to it, more so than the day before, and the shad was absolutely gone. And the bass that were in there it was really, really hard to get them to react. So it's that's why I'm a little bit in panic over these BFLs this weekend, because I haven't been this week, been out of town. So I'll slip out there this afternoon and see if I can relocate some, because I'm sure they're not going to be where I left them last.
No, probably not. And the water may be 60 or better by the time you get. May need to get the dinger out by the weekend. So now, were you you're talking about shad and bass? Were you strictly scoping, or were you just fishing grass and seeing fish up in the grass, or a little bit of both? Or
so, well, in the Toyota, like in the BFLs this weekend, we'd only scope for 3 hours now. So yeah, I was scoping while I was seeing those. I was scoping, and then when the scoping hours was up, I stayed around those bait. I tried to stay there, and I caught a lot of fish on chatterbait, on just like a Kitech swim bait, and some of my Caterpillar angles that did pretty well on A rigs, but most of the damage was done during the scoping time.
Yeah, but you weren't just out in the middle of nothing. It was all still. You were talking about throwing a chatterbait and stuff like that. You were still around some predictable areas.
Oh yeah.
It
was. I was always within a casting distance to grass, usually.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, I venture out. It really depends on where the bait is, and there's no rhyme or reason that I can tell. Why the bait's here and why they're there.
It's like going to Smith Lake all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like
it. That's pretty interesting. What are you seeing grass wise? Like, did this cold, we had a pretty long stretches of cold. Did that knock it way back? Is it still some pretty good green stuff other than eelgrass out there? Or what are you seeing?
No, there's still some, but right before that bitter cold snap we had, there was a lot of hydrilla. And I say not a lot, but when you found it, there was fish in it. And a lot of that hydrilla disappeared during that. When all the bays froze over and the pockets froze over, the hydrilla that was under them disappeared. And when the ice went away, so did the hydrilla.
Trey, had you been finding much hydrilla in your times out?
Not really. I've noticed it felt weird to me this year. I felt like a lot of places in years past that's always got grass, even eelgrass. It was kind of bare. But so it's kind of the same way for me. The only grass that I could find would, there would be a whole school of fish in it because that's all they got to live in.
That's fair. The only grass I've found that I really like, well, I didn't like it, but it was floating on top, and God, there's a bunch of that this year.
That too is that's the game changer and the wild card over here, right? You can be on a 30-pound bag easy and not be able to fish it all day long because of the floating grass. And
yeah, they pulled the water up a little bit a couple of weeks ago, or within the last 2 weeks, and all that stuff that was washed up around the bank just came back to life or something, and just kind of floating. Particularly, that may make this weekend real challenging because there's probably a lot of them have really jumped up shallow with with this big warming spell. I mean, Trey and I were talking. I mean, it's 80 degrees outside right now. On March the 5th. What do you think is going to be the big players? Is it still, if you're not scoping, you're hoping, even if it's just for 3 hours this weekend, or do you think you'll be able to pull something different out?
Well, I mean, with this warming trend, it's, who knows? There's going to be a lot of fish shallow, and there's going to be a lot of fish caught shallow, but I still think you're going to have to. I don't think you can win it in those 3 hours scoping, but I think you're going to have to do some damage in those 3 hours and then have something to back it up for the rest of the day. I don't think the winning bag will all be scoping, and I don't think it will all be shallow. I think it'll be a mixture.
Yeah. And are we still scoping with minnows, or have you bought into all this other fuzzy dice stuff that's going on now?
Well, I'm late to that game, and I said when this whole scope thing hit, I said I'd never be late to the game again, but yet here I am, and I don't even own. Well, I take that back. I bought some of the small ones last year, and I tried them down on Smith, and with no luck. So, but apparently, I'm on the outside looking in.
That's been the story of my life for those things. I was telling Trey that yesterday. We were talking, and I'm like, every time something new comes out, I'm on the last ones to really give into it. I don't own any yet, but by golly, when I can put my hands on one, I'm going to. Nothing like a $25 piece of plastic to throw out on the end of your line, right? Trey had said he had a lot of problems landing fish on them at one time. But maybe you can start getting
that was my biggest problem. For the longest time, I couldn't get them to bite it. And then finally, when I found out how to make them bite it, I still don't know if I've landed one on it.
It's weird. You can get bites, but you just can't get them in.
Yeah, I guess. And I'm late. I'm always late to the party on everything, too. And, these guys that are real good with it, they know exactly what hook to put in it and what rod to throw it on. And, man, I tied on the first rod I see that ain't got nothing on it. I don't even care what it is. So that's probably my issue. I'm a little lazy, but it is what it is.
Well, I don't know, Trey. You better put it on like 25-pound line or something with your luck. You'll be throwing one of them off.
Yeah.
What do you throw that on?
Braid, it's liable to. I mean, I've been throwing mine on a spinning rod, and then I messed around with a bait caster. But I really, I started throwing it on like a heavier spinning rod. That's what I do. Now I've seen guys do both, but I was throwing mine on like a 7.2 medium heavy spinning rod. Something with some backbone to it, but again, I wouldn't take no advice from me because I'm not too good with that fuzzy creature looking thing.
Well, it's when I first saw them, I thought, well, that's going to sell some. That's just going to convince somebody's going to convince a bunch of people they need them, but it probably isn't going to work. But apparently, sea urchins are a highly sought after food source in some of these lakes. Who knew?
Apparently.
Little Fisher, where'd he win that tournament? Oh, Blake Martin, throwing one of them things around. And I saw his dad on the live of ABT a little bit that morning before I had to head to a track meet. And he had one hanging off the side of his boat. Now, he wasn't throwing it when I saw him, but he had one. So
you got to watch them in eyes. They just jump in their boat. Like, they don't even really have to cast. They just show up and they just start with 25 pounds. So
that's the way that works. They're the opposite of Trey's bad luck.
Yeah, I show up with -20 and I got to catch 40 to win 20.
Yeah, that sounds like me. So in that Toyota, I did something. There's a rule I didn't even know existed. So I had caught a couple scoping, and they were on their side in the live well, and I put a fin clip on them to keep them right size.
Yeah.
And during the whole hubbub of the weigh in, I forgot one of those fin clips. Luckily, the other one fell off. I had them on 2 fish. One of them fell off, and I forgot the other one. And I got up there, and that's a 4-ounce penalty. I didn't know that. So I don't know, guys listening fishing the BFL or any of the MLLs, you put fin clips on, make sure you get them off. Don't do what I did.
So they gave you a 4-ounce penalty. I mean, you didn't cram it down its throat. So, I mean, you were just trying to help take care of your fish.
That's right. Yeah. And it was an honest mistake. I didn't even know it was a rule. I mean, I guess we don't have to agree with the rules. We just have to follow them.
Right. If you agree to fish it, you got to follow it. So that's kind of what
you got to have insurance too. I didn't think we needed to, but apparently you do.
Trey, let's let bygones be bygones. I didn't bring that up, just for the record. That was you. that was you teasing yourself.
I'll take credit. I thought it was funny. I had to. It was just the perfect opportunity. I couldn't let it slip.
Well, back-to-back BFLs this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Are you fishing both days, Johnny?
I am.
Oof. After been out of town working all week, today's Thursday, so you get to fish a day or two. You'll have to work a little bit, I'm sure, but back-to-back BFLs. There's a Southern Bass League. There's whole Guntersville just doesn't get much of a break, does it?
Never. And it starts in January and it gets pounded like that all the way through.
So it's a wonder we catch a fish. Although,
but it keeps on producing. It's amazing. That's what everybody I talked to this year talks about. Is not only is it highly pressured, but it produces. And this year, I've caught more numbers of fish this year than I ever have before. It's like this place is slap full of 3-pounders.
And that wasn't just scoping. That's just fishing.
Yes, both scoping and fishing. Moving baits and scoping, grab a trap, chatterbait.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I have now been fishing like 3 times this year. I had spent most of February tagging. I've carried a lot of fish around in my boat, but I didn't catch many of them. And I fished that rattle trap tournament Sunday just so I would go all day long. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I've not seen many days in March that the wind did not blow at all. And it was as calm and slick. And it was tough. I mean, like we caught 7 or 8 fish all day and had 2 keepers. And if you'd have told me, and I'm not Trey Swindle or anything, like I'm not, or Johnny Patterson, but if you'd have told me that I could go throw a rattle trap for 8 hours on the first day of March and have 7 or 8, well, have a few more bites just slapping at it, but and only catch 2 keepers, I'd be like, what? But we're throwing the wrong bait. They really didn't want it. Like some friends of mine had gone on an Alabama rig the day before and wrecked them, right? Just all about being the right bait at the right time. But it was Cinco slick out there. Kind of hurt my feelings.
Well, Pat, one thing I found this year is you're either on them or you're not.
Yep.
I've always heard 90% of the fish from 10% of the lake. And this year, that's more true than ever. Just like I was talking about earlier, when you go in, you turn your scope on, you look around, and there's literally thousands of bass in that area around that bait. And then you go for 2 days looking for something else like that and can't find it. But they're all in those small areas, packed in there.
I would agree with that because I was fishing in what's typically some pretty popular areas. And hardly had any boats around. And at some point, and I hate fishing around a crowd, so like it didn't hurt my feelings. But I know why there wasn't anybody there. There wasn't any fish there. So I mean, I'm not one to go riding around looking for boats. But I guess that's the only way to do it now. If anybody's going fishing and wants to know where not to go, holler. I'll let you know because there's a lot of places that were just empty though. They may be different by now, but by golly, it was pretty incredible. So. But it's, and I don't know, man. I mean, it seemed weird to have, they had 170 boats or something out there. It seemed weird to have that many boats out and not see that many people on a 70-degree, nice springtime day. So clearly I was in the wrong spot. So we'll go back to, we'll go back to the pros over here. Trey, Johnny, Trey, start first. What's it going to take to win BFL weight number one in the first day? And then they're two separate tournaments, so it's not combined. What's it going to take each day?
I'm gonna say 20, and I'm gonna say this because they only get 3 hours of scope,
Right.
and I'm gonna say it's gonna take like 26.
26. Okay.
26 or 27. I don't think, they could, but I don't think somebody will catch 30 or that high 28, 29 with just 3 hours of scope.
You think it'll take the same about both days?
I think so. I really do. If they had 8 hours of scope, I think some of them boys might, somebody might catch 28 to 30 and then another 28 to 30. But I don't know. I think the fish are on the move right now. I think the water temp's climbing so fast. I mean, when I was fishing the ABT, and I've seen so many, big ones cruising up shallow. I mean, I think I would just about bet anything that there's a bunch laying around on bed right now.
We had a full moon this week.
I think,
so, I mean.
Yep. And I think that's going to make the fishing a little bit more tough. And I think a lot of guys will weigh in that 22 to 23 rather than the 27 to 28.
It's also supposed to storm and rain some. So that's
not going to be good for them either.
For you scopers now, Johnny, I guess you're now a scoper. You used to not be, but you trained a young man how to fish years ago that is now probably taught you a thing or two about a scope. But do you like it slick and calm better for that? If you're just scoping,
I like just a little bit of ripple, just a little bit, just enough to break up the surface. To me, it's easier to catch them. Actually, the more the wind blows, the easier it is for me to get them to react. But there's a happy medium. It's hard to control, keep your boat pointed in the right direction. And I haven't installed the brakes yet, something I've been wanting to do and will do really soon. But I prefer just a slight ripple.
If you put those brakes down, is it like a spot lock, or is it just basically stop you? I mean, like you don't press a button and it keeps you in spot like your spot lock does.
No, it just stops you. So, but what it does, I haven't used them, but talking to folks that do, and when it first came out, I thought, well, that's crazy. That's just something that's too much. But it allows you to crank the speed up on your trolling motor, and you can go around a lot faster. And when you find those fish, sometimes it's just a single fish here and a single fish there. And the faster you can go, the more you can find. But you don't have to stay in control. You can just stomp on that button and stop on a dime and fish for that fish instead of running over them. And also, if it's really windy, you really need to go into the wind so you can keep control of your boat. If you see a fish, the wind will push you up on it. But with the brakes, you can go with the wind. And then when you see something, you can stop yourself and fish for that fish.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. We didn't get your prediction on winning weights for the weekend. You feel like yours is beat around Trey's? You think it'll be more or less?
I think Trey's spot on. I'm going to say between 25 and 26 be the winning weight each day. And there's something that I think is interesting this year. How every year's different on this lake, and last year those big bags were showing up. Those big fish were around. And this year they haven't shown up. Well, they're not dead. They're still swimming out there somewhere. They're just swimming where we're not fishing. Right? They're doing something different, and no one really unlocked them. But as they move up, who knows? I mean, somebody could slip in there and get a dirty 30. But I haven't seen any this year.
Not a one. No, me and somebody else were talking about that the other day. It's like, well, has the scope. Obviously we're catching with scope fishing, you're fishing for fish that didn't used to get fished for, right? You just waited for them to pull up into the nearest grass patch to catch a few. So has that impacted the population, right? Has it hurt? Is it going to hurt us long term? And that's been a discussion since this stuff really blew up, and I don't have an answer for that. I'm not a biologist, but so you think they've just moved? You think they just got wise, like an old buck? They just got wise and moved off a little bit.
Yeah, and one thing this year too, the water's been ultra clear. Back in December,
the
river channel looked like Smith Lake. It had that emerald green color to it, and I think that made them do something a little different. I mean, those bigger fish could be sitting out in the river channel. I don't know. They're somewhere I'm not. That's obvious.
Yeah, I feel you. So, well, Johnny, I hope it's you that has that 25 or 26 plus and finds first place, not second or third or 11th this weekend. I appreciate you taking a few minutes of time to talk with us after getting back from work travel. I really appreciate you doing that. And man, we will talk to you soon. If you win this weekend, either day, we're going to have to get you back on. You can tell us a little bit more details. Talk about what color mooch minnow you're throwing, because that seems to be the deal, you know. And then we can talk about some fuzzy dice a little bit more. So, but Trey, you hang around for a second. We're going to let Johnny run, and then we'll wrap it up.
Alrighty.
Thanks, Johnny. Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, guys. Hope to talk to you next week.
See you, man. Yeah, hope you do.
Yes, sir.
Well, Trey, seems to be kind of a same old story, right? You still with me? Did I lose you?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
No, my phone did something funny. I wasn't sure. So, and I kind of know the answer to this. You can look at the rattle trap results and say that. But like, if you take scope out of the equation, Guntersville's still fishing a lot different than the results of the ABT show where you can scope all day. I mean, it's not bad.
For sure.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
But
it's not bad at all. But Guntersville is one of those lakes that you can get away with it. You know, Guntersville is just that good. But a lot of these places, you know, people go around the country, you can really tell it, you know, because Guntersville, man, like, and again, we were talking about it, the grass, especially where I fish mostly, which is on the lower end. Once you get up on that Miracle Mile stretch, the grass is still pretty good, but on that lower end, man, all the grass is gone.
Pretty thin.
And when they get like that, you know, it's not as easy for your, you know, average fishermen that don't know how to scope to just go fish grass and catch 20 to 23 pounds. You know, it makes it a whole lot harder because you have to scope for them. So it gets, and then when the grass starts dying, it gets, you know, in smaller areas and boats get on top of each other, and it does hurt the weights. Now, they still catch them, obviously, but it's not the whole, you know, 26 pounds down to 15th and takes 22 to get paid, versus if you can't scope or you only have 3 hours where you see 17, 18 pounds, you know, finish 40th.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know, it was definitely, you could tell, like the trap tournament, which again, it was not an ideal day to throw a rattle trap, right? I mean, you know, I would have picked this weekend, you know, with a little clouds and a little wind over top of sunny, and it was a pleasant day to be outside. It was not a great day to throw a rattle trap for a couple of reasons.
Yep.
No wind for 3 days, and there's eelgrass floating everywhere. It made it hard to find a place that you could really effectively fish it, right? And and then I'm gonna make excuses just because I sucked. I mean, there was still some folks catching, but it really was pretty tough. I mean, I know a lot of folks that really just didn't do that much. You know, it seemed the guy that won said that they sat down in them, you know, and said you had certain start times based on what your number was. And he said there were some people not far from them that they watched for 20 minutes catch them before they could make a first cast. So, but they ended up getting, you know, but he said they caught theirs in the first 30, 45 minutes and didn't really do much the rest of the day. I caught 2 in the first 30, 45 minutes, and I didn't do much the rest of the day. But it was just the wrong one.
See, and that's why I was so worried when that happened to my motor. I told my partner, Sam, I'm like, man, it might not be good for us because, you know, when it gets slick, calm, and sunny like that on Guntersville, your best chance to catch them is in the first hour because it's a little bit lower light. And they don't care as much that there's no wind to break it up because it's kind of low light. So you can get right in a hurry. But when that sun gets up and it's really slick calm and you can see 5 feet, that you can see the grass you're throwing in, they don't typically like that. So I knew I thought that was going to hurt us a little bit. But, and again, it was kind of surprising to see the weights of the rattle trap tournament be as good as they were with those conditions. So, but you might see this weekend in the BFL because it's going to be cloudy and raining and the wind blowing a little bit. You know, the grass might be a whole lot better, and it might be more tough on them guys trying to throw a big old fuzzy dice out there at fish swimming around. You know,
that's the beauty of it. It's a little different every day. So
it is.
Well, Trey, we're going to get you in here the next time, hopefully, if you're not out of town. I don't remember how the scheduling works there and where you're going to be. But anyway, I appreciate you taking a few more minutes to join with us today. And
absolutely,
I guess you won't be back to Guntersville for a minute, will you? unless you just slide out.
Just depending on my boat situation, maybe I can talk one of my buddies into taking me up there.
Hey, you got to ride in my boat if you want it. I get to go about once a month. So
that's right. Well, it might be the next time I get to go, so I might have to call you.
No, I hear you. So, all right. Well, we appreciate everybody that joined us and made it this far. Until don't forget the Big Bass Splash coming up at the end of the month. Always pretty fun. You know, Trey said he would love to fish that if they'd let him, but I think he fishes too many upper level events for him to let him. But you might. The Toyotas rule you out of those now?
I'm gonna have to check on that because I think it's based off of entry fees, and I don't think it's based off of the tournament draw. I think it's based off entry fees. So I actually might be able to fish that. Well, actually, I lied. I have the ABT that weekend, so I can't.
Oh, that's right. You won't be able to anyway. So
yeah, I won't be able to. Dang it.
Only on Sunday.
Well,
only on Sunday.
Yep. I could do Sunday.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Until next time, everybody enjoy that floating grass. There is a bunch of it out there. So maybe some of it will attach to the bottom and you'll catch 8-pounder out of it. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks. See ya.